Hello, my friends. After day 5 of the war against Iran, or as Donald Trump says, it's the special combat military operation, it is already understandable that it is not going according to plan. Why? Well, because the Ayatollah regime is still out there, despite being beheaded. Military command Khamenei himself, they are gone. They appointed some new guys, and the system, it is still working. It's not going to full chaos. Yes, there is no communication between those army units, but they act. They fire those missiles and drones, and they're exhausting defense capabilities of allies in the region. So this is the news that we have today. United States burns through precision munition air defense interceptors in Iran. Well, actually, Iran is also running out of ballistic missiles, but still they have some of the drones, Shahid drones, which are way more effective, as some of the media sources say, compared to ballistic missiles. They may easily fly at a very low altitude and penetrate defense of Bahrain, UAE, and Kuwait. Mostly those countries are being hit by Iran in retaliation strikes because they're very, very close to Iranian soil. So actually the United States and their allies in the region, they were not prepared for this long-term air defense operation. From what we see, it was an estimate that the kaput of the head of the regime may kaput the regime itself, but it is not happening. Also, well, the internet is quite limited in Iran, but it is understandable that people are not going into the protests massively. They are not changing the regime from inside. Yeah, we saw many of the videos, day one, how many people were cheerful, they were celebrating that Khamenei is gone, everything is great, but we don't receive those kind of the videos any longer. Instead, we see how government mobilizes the supporters of the regime, and I would say that there is substantial percentage of the people who would like regime to still be functional. Some of the religious leaders are still out there, and they're calling for revenge and for the saint war against invaders, Israel and the United States, and some other puppets, as they say, in the region. So this TV informational propaganda broadcast is still done by official regime of Iran, which is kind of not okay. And they have already elected a new spiritual leader who is basically a son of Ayatollah, a younger guy, and yes, so far there is no general collapse of Ayatollah. Yes, they are hurt. Yes, it's kind of hard for them to establish the full control over its military. It's been dispersed, communication lines are being cut. They don't know what is happening in multiple of the areas of the country. Their military suffers under the constant strikes. Navy is lost for Iran, but it doesn't mean that this regime completely lost this war, sadly. Why sadly? Well, because for me, Iranian regime is an enemy, because they're Russian allies and they're definitely pure evil in the region. The only country that was hostile to its neighbors is Iran. But at the same time, the special combat operation was not planned well, and it might go to complete chaotic variant of the development of events. It has already started to go this way. We already see that planning was poorly done. Allies underestimated the threat from Shahid drones, and it is by the time there is 4 years of the war of Russia against Ukraine, where drones are everywhere. Just learn the experience of Ukraine, but no, everything will be fine. No country had drone interceptors, really. And they use very expensive Patriot missiles, and they're in lack of the munition, PAC-3 missiles and everything to shut down those very cheap Shahids and ballistics. So it is already evident that if this special combat operation continues for several more days, allies could be exhausted, will be exhausted, and they'll have to choose, okay, we're gonna shut down this ballistic missile or that Shahid, or maybe this one, where it flies. So it shows an incompetence in planning of this operation right away, straightforward. They should have prepared it for a very long time, producing those Patriot missiles, learning the experience of Ukrainian army, coordinate and cooperate with the Ukrainians as well. But no, oh, Shahids are flying, we have to do something. Ukraine, what, are you willing to help? Yeah, we're willing if you support us in this or other way, because, you know, we cannot send our forces straight forward to the Middle East because we need them. on our ground to protect Ukraine itself. So the system is not working properly, and the longer this confrontation in the Middle East continues, the worse it will be for the air defense and to protect allies from the Shahed drone strikes and ballistic missiles. Yeah, Iran is also running out of ballistics, but they still have pretty much lots of the Shaheds. Guys, a short message here about the sponsor of today's video, and it is you. Yes, you're helping this channel a lot by pressing likes. Yes, just right now, while you're watching, press like to this video, thumb up. And if you haven't been subscribed, please subscribe. And if you think that you are subscribed, also please check out your subscriptions, because YouTube may unsubscribe you. It is for free. Press those two buttons, like, subscribe, and it is very important to propel this video in algorithms by doing so. And my separate thanks for Patriot supporters, Patreon supporters. Yeah, you may be also Patriot supporters, don't you? Well, Patreon supporters, thank you so much. The link for my Patreon is in the video description right below. And members of the channel, also thank you so much. If you want to join membership, press button join, but obviously it's the financial support of the channel, but that is how I film and I'm capable to do what I do. So thank you for employing myself for this job that I do for me and for you, for everyone, and for the common cause. My friends, let's continue. And here's one more mistake. Let's listen to the Fox News report.
It's big. A U.S. official telling Fox thousands of Iraqi Kurds have launched a ground offensive in Iran.
Well, actually, this is kind of conflicting information for now, because Iraqi officials, they are not saying that thousands of Kurds are going to Iranian territories. So I'm still waiting for this confirmation. But if it is true, it means the civil war in Iran. Why? Well, because Kurds are just minority of Iranian population, just one ethnic group. And for Kurds themselves, they don't want to really liberate Iran from something. Their goal is to create their own country. Kurds are the biggest ethnic group in the world that has no own country. This is the area where they live. And that is what they're fighting for if they are into some of the military conflict. There are Kurdish separatist movements in Turkey. In Syria, they were fighting, by the way, backed up by United States against the Assad regime. In Iraq, well, they were also backed up by USA to fight against ISIS. But in a couple of the occasions, Kurds were betrayed. And just recently, Syrian forces were moving to the Kurd part of the country, and the United States were saying that they are going to withdraw the remains of the forces from Syria, so Kurds are in lack of the American support. At the same time, now officially, through official channels, the United States is secretly preparing thousands of Iraqi Kurds for an offensive on the western borders of Iran. It is reported that the first crossings of the borders and the seizure of number of checkpoints have already taken place. For now, these reports are really hard to verify. Yeah, for now we don't have the robust information. Internet is absent. At the same time, representative of the Kurdish Freedom Party, Nalil Nadiri, did indeed announce his readiness for combat actions. So because the population of Kurds in Iran is kind of small, they want to reinforce local Kurdish forces with some of the Kurds from Iraq, as they say, thousands, if you believe Fox News. But again, it's just a tiny percentage of the population of the country, and the goal of their operation is just to create Kurdistan. It's not to change the regime or apply new power, democratic institutions. They have their own goal, Kurds. And the rest of the country, do they support Kurds? I wouldn't say so. So this is the sparking. We are at the beginning of this civil war in Iran, if it is truthful information. And maybe even more people would support Ayatollah in this case, because for them, for some of the people, Kurds are even more foreign than its own autocracy regime, like it happened in Syria. But here the scale is way bigger because of the population, general population of Iran. It's 93 million people at least. In this case, the region will be destabilized for the very long time, could be as in Syria. And there will be a huge refugee crisis in Europe and nearby countries. So far, I see this variant is the most probable one, sadly. Well, actually, for me, there are three of the variants of how the events in Iran may develop. I already told you about the worst case scenario. I hope you agree with me that it's the worst case. The next one is a yes and no. It is the variant that the White House administration is capable to make a deal with the current regime or some of the members who survived. And there are the signs that the White House is willing to negotiate with whoever there is. Because according to Axios, Netanyahu asks White House if secret Iran talks are happening. Yes, they're happening. White House behind the curtains is trying to stop this war as fast as possible because it goes to absolute uncontrolled spiral down, I would say. So Israeli intelligence suspected that the United States was secretly negotiating a ceasefire with Iran. Netanyahu asked the White House for clarifications. The White House replied Bibi that nothing was going behind the back. Yeah. But it is known for sure that Iranian intelligence tried to contact the CIA about the conditions for ending the war. The New York Times says about it. Publicly, United States and Iran denied those negotiations, but around 3 days ago, Oman officials contacted the United States on behalf of Iran. They were like those mediators and they were looking for solutions of this military confrontation. So, of course, this information already leaked to the press, and what Donald Trump says to Netanyahu that no negotiations are happening is a pure lies. The war in Iran is way too unpopular, even among MAGA. They voted for the wars not to happen. But their leader, their beloved Sunni president, Donny, started the one right away, right after 1 year of his presidency. They started and they saw, it's not going according to our plan, and they tried to stop it fast, but how? They don't know. Trump definitely is looking to negotiate with someone, so that's the variant number 2, that finally it may lead to some of the negotiations. Iranian regime may cooperate actually, because they were hurt a lot. Their military is basically destroyed, mainly destroyed, but they still have some of the variants how to strike allies in the region with Shahids, with ballistics, but they're also losing this capability. So the fight isn't going until the moment that Iran or allies will lose the capabilities either to defend themselves or launch those drones and ballistics. So far, no one may predict what it might be, but Iranian regime is also in a terrible state, and that is why they also would like to negotiate, I think so. They might say, okay, we're going to reduce our rhetorics, maybe we're going to cancel our nuclear program after all, just to survive. It is not the best for Iranian people, but it is acceptable for allies and for the United States, and I guess for Israel as well. And a variant number 3, a perfect one for Iranian people. They go and take the power. That's it. Ayatollah regime now is the weakest throughout its history since they took the power in 1979. But the problem is with this variant that there were already those protests before, and this wave, it was downed by basically killings. Iranian regime unalived tens of thousands of own people, and that wave that was started before, it went down. It was not backed up by allied forces, by United States, by Israel. No, they waited for some time, around 1 month, and then they started their special combat operation. But it is too late. And for people, it's kind of hard to go on the streets, especially then they know the previous experience of how those Ayatollah regime police officers, or how to call them, basically butchers, were just riding their motorcycles on the streets and shooting left and right everyone. And for this reason, even though this variant is the perfect one, absolutely, but I'll give it the lowest possible chance to be implemented in real life. I would give this region to go to complete chaos. I think so. I think it's gonna mess up, especially knowing that how incompetent those people who started this war, I mean, Donald Trump's administration, I don't think they planned something very complicated, significant, and really good for Iranian people. I think their goal, well, anyways, they're gonna reach their goal, right? They're gonna get rid of nuclear program, and they do not care really about Iranians. Absolutely. And that's very sad, unfortunately. So we have those kind of the news here. The Atlantic says that thousands of the Kurdish forces are definitely assembling for the future attack, if not yet started their attack, and that's called a civil war. So United States do not want to deploy its own army forces. For them, it's better to feed Kurds once again with weapons and let them do some of the job to destabilize Iranian regime, but they will destabilize the whole country with this action. Again, their goal is this. They want to create some sort of the country on territory of multiple of the countries. It's the other question whether they have the right for it or not. Well, I think after all that the biggest ethnical group that doesn't have its own country, there are millions of Kurds actually. And if Israel was created for less people, yeah, I think Kurds also have the right to have their own country somewhere. I know where, but they should have it. It's my opinion once again, but maybe it contradicts the international law even. Because according to United Nations, no any southern border should be like changed or something. Just in democratic way it is possible, not with weapons. So yeah, that's the question about Kurds. But I like Kurdish people, they're fantastic. However, their military action on territory of Iran will bring more instability and will start a civil war 100%. The United States defenses may not be able to intercept many of Iran's one-way drones. Kamikaze drones, guys, this is stupid. I mean, they were not prepared for this kind of the retaliation war of Iran, that Shahids are way more effective, yeah, than even ballistic missiles could be, especially when you launch them very close, just across the strait, and that's it. Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, multiple of those drones, they hit very important facilities, including facilities of Amazon, data centers, and those are responsible for the stable internet connection. A spokesman of Islamic Revolution Guard already told that they've hit Kurdish groups opposing the revolution in Iraqi Kurdistan. With 3 missiles they did it. Well, it's kind of hard to trust the officials from Iran, but with this statement they openly say about the threat for them from Kurdish militants. Oh, Iran lost its corvette. It was hit by coalition forces. And yeah, it lost mostly all of the ships were kaputted. Iran is in lack of the conventional tools. What they have are Shahids, cruise missiles, maybe some of the artillery, and of course ballistics. By the way, in Hormuz Strait, for now it's been mainly blocked. At first I thought that it's not possible without navy, but Iran does it, hitting some of the ships. There were 3 reports about the strikes on vessels, official reports. Iran again uses drones and missiles. Hormuz is crucial, it's important. Well, if you may get some of the alternative for oil, but for gas, Qatar, it's the main exporter of the gas to Europe and within the region. And with the Hormuz Strait being blocked for now, it's not good. Well, physically this bottleneck is not blocked, but it's very risky to operate under those strikes. Then there is a military confrontation, and how long this might last, no one knows. Donald Trump said in one of his statements that American army is so strong that they might continue this war forever. Yeah, we have virtually unlimited supply of the weapons, and wars can be fought forever. Forever and never. At the same time, as I mentioned to you in my previous video, he continued to blame sleepy Joe Biden and Zelensky of Ukraine for whatever, yeah, for not having weapons, that we transferred all of the weapons, but we have weapons. We virtually have unlimited weapons. We can fight forever, but weapons were given by Joe Biden. What?
Unfortunately, we had a very stupid and incompetent leader in this White House for 4 years who gave away many of our best weapons for nothing, for free, to another country very far away by the name of Ukraine.
Well, you know, guys, if I was a Ukrainian official, high-rank official, who is responsible for this military cooperation, coordination, everything of that, I would not help coalition forces right now. Absolutely. If they blame you openly like this, like Ukraine, in this case, why do you need those drone interceptors? You have all the means to continue the war forever. Go for it. No drone interceptors for you. Oh, it's hard to shut down those Shahid drones. Shit happens, you know. Yeah, that's why I hate the White House administration. Even now, they blame allied countries, partners, not enemies at all, some country in Ukraine. They blame at the very critical point that they need help actually from Ukraine. American bases are being hit. They lose their soldiers. No, fuck you. That's what they say. The fuck Ukraine. And now, then they need the help, or those countries, they're asking for help privately, for Ukraine. UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, whatsoever. Well, maybe it's better to support them with drone interceptors, but just to protect the civilian infrastructure of those countries, not American bases, until they change their rhetorics towards Ukraine.
And we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far.
As he says, about 600%, 700% of discount on pharmacy. And again, here in his speech, he tells about windmills. He tells about windmills. He tells about decoration of the White House. In the next sentence, then he mentions the losses of American soldiers. You know, it's like the war in Ukraine where White House is completely incompetent. And with this military escalation in the Middle East, it is also incompetent. And now it is openly out there with this reaction of the White House, how they want to have some of the excuse of why they started this war against Iran. Rubio mentioned that it was Israel who would have started this war in any case, so we had to join. So is Israel influencing the United States foreign policy and whether they should start wars or not? So what is happening there? And later on, Donny says that Iran was 2 weeks away from developing nuclear weapons. Witkov said 1 week, then he said 4 weeks. Like what? And they are saying about it for actually years and years. Well, Iran is definitely a threat. It should not have nukes, absolutely. I guess you also agree with that. But how United States and other allies are performing this special military operation, special combat operation, but Donald Trump called it a war, by the way, once again today. Well, it's not completely terrible, but close to it. And I don't see good outcome for the region itself. So far, yeah, the first day was fantastic. First day. Then they flatlined the head of Ayatollah regime, Khamenei himself, all the military command. But what is next? What is next? Next is probably chaos. Alright guys, it's all what I want to say for this hour. There are lots of the other news coming, but I don't want to make this video ridiculously long, especially about this topic. You might disagree with me, it's alright. I mean, everyone has her or his own opinion. I have my own, and I'm here just on my channel to tell you about it. According to my logic, according to the information which is coming, day 5, and already I see that allies bogged down, especially United States. They bogged down in achieving the main goal, not in striking those military infrastructure facilities, military units, ballistics, whatsoever, but I don't see the way out, the proper way out for this region. Yeah, sadly. Well, my friends, thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon and also membership of the channel. The link for my Patreon is in the video description right below. To join membership, just press follow or join. Yeah, this button calls join. If you don't have this opportunity, you may just press like to this video and subscribe for the channel, because that is how you propel my video and my channel in algorithms. See you around. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.